And silver prices have been surging at a pace that's even surpassing that of gold. The increasing cost of silver has attracted many investors. Customers say they buy it because of its smaller risk. Also, the investment required to buy up silver is much smaller than that needed to invest in gold. In a Beijing store, the price of silver increased nearly 100% compared with July 2009. Industry insiders say there are many channels for Chinese customers to invest in silver.
There are three kinds of silver investment in China. One is to invest on the Shanghai Gold Exchange. Another is to open a silver trading account with the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. And more simply, you can also invest in silver coins.
The government of China can see the writing on the wall. They own more than $1 trillion of practically worthless U.S. paper dollars. And they have 1 billion people who want to seek a better life. 1 billion people who are becoming very aware of the physical silver and gold markets. 1 billion people who are prodigious savers. And perhaps it is for these reasons that the Chinese have announced that China's exportation of the precious metal silver will drop by 40% in the immediate future. Chinese investors are now hoarding silver along with other resources. China is short of resources for these 1 billion people, so the investors believe the metals will be more valuable in the future. These investors are correct. In fact, physical silver exported from China is already down nearly 2,500 tons in 2010, the equivalent of some 80 million ounces. When it comes to the term rare earths, one may want to start including silver. China needs to retain silver in China for Chinese industry and for Chinese citizens. And so it goes. Those who were once the paupers of the world will soon be princes. And back home in the old US of A, well, we've got trillions in bailouts for Wall Street. So here are the facts. The corruption in our financial markets has been so widespread for so long that it has actually created opportunity for the properly informed. Because the Federal Reserve owns the printing presses which pump out our paper dollars, the controlling class has for years suppressed the free market prices of gold and silver in order to keep their paper dollars unrivaled. Yet, like a canary in a coal mine, the rising prices of gold and silver are signaling that something is wrong. So the bankers have flooded the market with paper representations of gold and silver in a coordinated scheme to keep those prices down, thus keeping that canary alive. So, if you purchased silver a year or two ago and you've doubled your money, do you sell now? If you're new to this and don't own any, do you buy? Well, here are the facts. You decide.
Silver, the most undervalued metal in human history. Gold today is without a doubt more rare than silver. But what about tomorrow? On average today, for every 10 ounces of silver pulled out of the ground, only 1 ounce of gold is mined. However, the majority of silver mined is used for consumption, while the majority of gold mined is nearly all added to global inventory. Yet precious metal investors, as small of a group as they are still investing $7 in GLD for every $1 they invest in SLV. Looking at modern history, silver is destined to be more rare and certainly worth more than gold. In 1950, there were 10 billion ounces of above-ground available silver. By 1980, it shrank to 3.5 billion ounces. And in 2010, it is estimated that above-ground available silver supply is between 500 to 700 million ounces. To put this into perspective, total above-ground available gold in 1950 was 1 billion ounces. And today, it's estimated to be around 7 billion ounces. In 1980, when silver nearly reached $50 per ounce, global population was 2.5 billion people. Global GDP was $10 trillion, and China had the 11th largest economy. Today, global population is near 7 billion people. Global GDP, $60 trillion, and China is now the second largest economy. So the population since 1980 is up 176%. Global GDP is up 500%. Above ground available gold is up 600%. Meanwhile, above ground available silver has plummeted at least by 91%, and the price is still down 46% from its 1980 high of $50 per ounce. To say the opportunity in silver is enormous is an understatement. Looking at the historical silver to gold ratio of 15 to 1, silver is highly undervalued today. It now takes 50 ounces of silver to purchase 1 ounce of gold. Even when ignoring the above ground supply deviation, mined metal production should at the very least bring that number to 10 to 1. Using today's prices with gold at $1,400, silver should be worth no less than $140 per ounce. Silver is being consumed more than ever, and it is a fact that there is less above ground available silver than there is gold. Industrial demand for silver is up 18% in just the last year. The need for silver is growing by the day. Silver is being consumed and used for bandages for wound care, batteries, brazing, soldering, Cadillac converters, cell phones, computers, satellites, high-tech weaponry, lasers, digital technology, clothing, electronic circuit boards, ink, solar cells, water purification, wood treatment, antennas, RFID chips, freeway toll transponders, passports, and the list goes on. From 1990 to 2000, nearly 2 billion ounces of above-ground available silver disappeared to consumption. Yet industrial demand for silver was only 35% by the year 2000. Today, it's 54%. And looking at the new uses for silver, the silver production deficit will only widen. China, since 2003, has been growing its solar energy base by almost 100% every year. By 2014, the world will need 130 million ounces of silver just to satisfy 1 year of global solar demand. The world has consumed so much silver in the last 50 years that the last time above ground available inventory was this low was 1300 AD. The deficit of silver production has been met mostly from government stockpiles. The U.S. has dumped nearly 5 billion ounces since World War II into the silver markets. But as of 2010, according to the USGS, the government stockpile for silver are listed as none. The supply and demand deficit continues to be ignored by global investors year after year, decade after decade. Total mining production for 2009 was 710 million ounces. Total demand was 889 million ounces. That's a mining production deficit of 179 million ounces to meet demand. With each day comes a new use for silver, and the supply and demand deficit continues to eat away at the above ground available supply. FutureMoneyTrends.com is projecting that just as palladium was once worth more than platinum, silver will one day be worth more than gold. The demand for silver will continue to increase, yet mining production will never be able to keep up, depleting the above ground available silver supply possibly by the end of this decade. Silver may be the greatest investment in human history. How often doesn't any generation get the opportunity to invest in a finite resource that will soon be extinct?
I do a lot of speaking engagements around the world, and this is my favorite kind of group to come to, because you have a community of souls whose objective is to be the best that they could be and to reach the highest levels. So anytime you're talking to a group of people like that with free minds and with no barriers, it makes it a lot easier for my kind of work, because as a trend forecaster, there are no barriers. So Wealth Masters has no restrictions. Anybody could become and reach any height that they want. So it's the perfect venue for someone like me who believes the same thing. So I relate perfectly to this, because there are no boundaries. You visualize your future and you make it happen. So in knowing that, that's what this group is about, it's exciting for me to be a part of it. So I provide a level of knowledge that's not accessible in many other areas, trend knowledge. So to me, it's a perfect fit, because in order for these people, in order for wealth masters to achieve their goals, and the people in the community, they have to move forward with the best knowledge that they have, so when the future comes, they're not taken by surprise.